Greetings everyone, I'm Mike Parsons, and this is a tutorial video on the unit status report. And I'm basically going to start off with just a quick kind of simple overview, show you how to update some of the statuses in Rent Manager and run reports in Rent Manager so you can see your statuses. And then if you're interested, you can basically keep watching and I'll get into some of the more technical details of the unit status report and how all this information here in the spreadsheet is all consolidated and basically how it works. Okay, so start off with just the general overview of this report. When you're reviewing this, if you're a manager, it's real quick. I mean, first thing you need to look at is this column right here. So these are all of your units that don't have a status. Okay, so you know, if you're going over here and you're looking at your market ready status and you're saying, okay, well, I'm missing some units here. Where are they? Well, right here, there's 24 units that don't have a status on it. So you just, however you want to take care of that. I shoot out a automated email. It goes out twice a week, and I'm going to double check that to make sure that I have all the new district managers and new VPs on there. But it goes out. Really, all you have to do is forward it, and the manager should be definitely keeping up with those. Second thing you want to look at here is this column. This is showing the amount of units that have entered the down status. There's really not very many reasons why a unit should be going down. Obviously that's not what we want to happen. So you double check that and make sure that managers have explanations for all these and that they weren't made down by mistake, I guess you could say. And that's about it. You can see your occupancy over here at the start, your occupancy at the beginning of the period, move-ins, move-outs, and occupancy at the end of the period. And I'm going to jump into Rent Manager and kind of show you what managers need to be doing to change the statuses and how the managers run reports to see which units are in which status in Rent Manager because they don't have access to this report. And then I'm going to jump back into this report and show you kind of how all this stuff is calculated and hopefully answer a little bit more questions if anybody has any like real kind of technical questions about that. So I'm going to jump into Rent Manager here, and I already have this up. This is under reports, and then you go to batch reports and then the unit status for the PMs. And you basically run it just like all the other batch reports. You pick your property, pick your start date, and it generates 4 reports. And you can see over here on the left, ready, make ready, down, and the no unit status. These are basically just helpful for property managers listing out what they need. It's pretty straightforward. Obviously, the no unit status shouldn't be showing any units. In here you can see how long they've been vacant, which is most likely how long they have not had a status. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff. And I'm going to jump into a test location here real quick and show you guys how to add a unit status. Okay, so we are in rental information and then rental units. So we're in our rental units window, and this is where we adjust our statuses right here in this little box. And one thing you want to do when you're reviewing your statuses, it just makes it easier. Go ahead and click filters and then click this button right here to only show your vacant units. You can see here that there's 153 here in this test location. This red button removes the filter, so it shows all units, and all of these are going to be vacant, as you can see right here. So this is test location. None of these have unit statuses, unfortunately, but what you would see is like this one right here. This would be a correct. When you flip through this is what you would want to see. These unit statuses. So how do they work? All right, so pick the unit that you want to add a status to. This is going to be unit 511 for us, and we're on the general tab. If you have trouble finding this, we're going to click add unit status, and this basically just works like a move in and a move out date, like an auto charge start and end date. It's very similar. So let's say this unit was It's in a make ready status, and it started July 24th. So we're going to leave the end date open because we don't know when that unit is going to become ready. And we got right here our make ready status. So we're going to click that. We're going to click add status. All right, so now this this unit will show up on the make ready report rather than the no unit status report. It has a status added to it. So what do you do from here? So let's say this apartment maintenance went in and fixed it and turned it or whatever on 7/26. So double click this gap right here on end date. Your edit unit status window pops up, and it's as easy as putting in an end date. So let's go to 7/26. Select that, and you can see here your end date populates. And now what you need to do is, since this is moving to a ready status, all you have to do is click add unit status. Add another status. It always starts the day after, so the make ready status ended on the 26th. So on the 27th, we are going to make this unit ready. And that's basically how you just move these units from one to the other, and it's pretty straightforward. And again, you do need to close out this status before you can move somebody in. And that's about it for adding statuses. So I'm going to jump back into Excel here and talk a little bit more about this report. And so one of the details about this report that may be confusing is it works very similar to in accounting, basically accounting transactions, right? So you can think of this as the ending balance, makes it a little bit easier, and you can think of this as your debits and your credits and your ending balance, right? So beginning balance, how many units were moved into this status, how many units were moved out of this status, and then how many units are currently in the status. So ending balance or your current occupancy, right? Same thing applies throughout. And one of the interesting things about the way that this report works is, since none of these statuses can overlap, it basically forces managers to move them along through the statuses. These numbers right here are always tied to rent rolls. The inactives always tied to the inactive unit listing, and the down units are pretty easy to monitor because they never change. They never increase, or they never really should increase. One thing that can happen is, so for example, let's say 7/1, we have a unit that is sitting here in the intern process, and then 7/30, that unit is occupied. Now you're not going to see a change here in the make ready status because that unit went from intern, so you'll see a -1 here, and then you'll see a +1 here for occupied. So the question then becomes, how do I know which units are moving where? So for example, I need to see Arlington. Arlington, we have 4 units that moved into a down status, right? Now I can go into the report in Rent Manager and run that report, and it will give me a list of the 11 down units, but I want to know, out of those 11, which ones were moved into the down status. That's what I want to know. So that you can do in Rent Manager pretty easily by going into your rental units and then filtering them, and then running your report, your batch report. Still in the test location, but you run your batch report. You pull up the report of the list with the down units, and then you just look through them, and then you'll see the status right there. So it's pretty straightforward. There's one other way you can do it. For example, if you're a district manager, you're a VP, and you just like working with Excel, this report does have a unit breakdown table in it, which you may be interested in. And if you guys need a copy of this, I don't see why that would be a problem. But basically what you can do is you can say, okay, I want to look at, so basically if you don't know how tables work, sorry, I should explain that first. tables work by these little filters. So these little buttons right here, you can hit these, and then by selecting the properties that you want. So for example here, we'll select all of Arlington. And then now we can just see just Arlington properties. Here are all of our units. Here is the original status, the 7-1 status, and the 730 status. And basically the way this works is if there wasn't any change in between these two statuses, you get an O or 0. If there was a change, for example, you can see that this one went from occupied status to a make ready status. You see a minus here under occupied, and you see a plus under make ready. And so then what you can do is, you know that you can go into down here and you can filter this by all the pluses, right? So you have a filter here on pluses, and then you have a filter here on just Arlington, which means these units are the 4 additions right here. So again, I mean, if you're an Excel person and you like that type of thing, you know, I can shoot these reports out to you guys. Just send me an email. Let me know that you want me to send it out to you. It's not a big deal. But that's basically it. And you know, if you guys have any questions on how we only have so many make readies, or we only have, you know, so many units of some status, or just the numbers don't look right, I mean, the unit breakdown's right here, so you can always jump in there and look at that. And that's basically it for this report. That's probably a lot more detail than you needed, but I figured I'd put it in there because I'm sure some people are always a little curious on how that works. So hopefully that answers most of your questions. If not, shoot me an email. My email is mparsons@americanmanagement.net. And that's just about it. All right, thanks. Bye.